And welcome in. We are here on March 29th. I forgot the date. After the Circuit of the Americas Cup race. But before we even get into that, we had a major penalty handed out early last week to Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. Brad Keselowski fined 100 points plus it was $100,000 and 100 points. Give us your take on the Brad Keselowski situation.
Oh man, we're off to a we got this notification kind of early this week that Brad Keselowski modified a major component in the stock car. Unfortunately, it was not released on what he modified, even though I was trying to find the answer, but just didn't seem to give. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't know these cars ins and outs, but yeah, he modified a big part. And with stock cars this year, the penalties are a lot harsher than they have been years past. So he wasn't being he's kind of an independent racer, kind of almost. He's got kind of his own company, so he's got $100,000 fine. Plus, not all his wrecked cars getting paid to get them fixed. So I'm thinking he might be set straight after this. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, we got this early this weekend. I I kind of wish I knew what he modified, but that's the new gen cars are easy to modify, and the penalties are a lot more crucial. So we have fair racing this year, which it mostly has been. Not too many illegal mods, people trying to sneak into it, but a couple illegal adjustments, but nothing major. I don't think nothing major, but we'll have to see if any more cheaters down the road get the harsher penalty. I think the max fine is $250,000. I think, or is
I
it
think that I
150?
think that was the highest penalty ever given out, and that was after Spingate when Clint Boyer spun to help Martin Truex into the playoffs, and both guys missed the playoffs, and Michael Waltrip was fined $250,000. So,
Mm.
but yeah, $100,000 and a 100 point fine that basically forces Keselowski to have to win at least 2 or 3 races, I would say, to even get into the playoffs this year. And so far, he hasn't shown the speed that he can win other than on super speedways. So that fine, I think, is going to scare enough guys straight to the point where they're not going to be trying to modify whatever part it was. We don't know. It was a single source supplied part. So every one of this part is the same on each car. And we don't know what part it was, but they did something to it. And I think the harsh penalty, the 100 points, $100,000, I think that's enough to scare the rest of the drivers into not making that mistake, not trying to cheat or modify parts.
Yeah, I believe the highest penalty you can receive this year is $250,000. Big car companies, Gibbs, Hendrick. I think they can easily afford that. But I wouldn't think that was a mistake that he wants to make. But being, Keselowski in the position he is, being by himself, kind of by himself, he's 100 grand in a hole. I don't know what it costs to repair your cars after he's kind of his famous dumps of the year. So he's also got car costs and everything, and I believe a new stock car is like $450,000. So either he's got a heck of a bank account or he kind of scraping a lot. And not just they took a big penalty to him, he also lost stage points, which he's gonna have to really buckle it down on the track and try to get those back. I haven't really kept track on what he has for points this year, but yeah, not just the big horrendous fine, but yeah, he's lost some stage points, so he's got some work to do on the track, and hopefully he straightens out after this, and everybody gets straightened out because I do love the racing this year. And we have fair racing. We still have all the cars are exactly the same, but not every single one is the same. There's some cars that are tuned better, some better parts. So it's not all equally cars. Everything's the same, but you're never going to have one of the same car. You're going to have a bad car, and you're going to have the best car. And we've seen Trackhouse, for example, is Ross has had top 5 finishes for the last 4 weeks now.
Yep.
I believe 3 or 4 weeks now. So his cars, whatever they're doing to it, they're keeping it up. And no matter a short track, a fast track, or a circuit of the Americas, nothing can slow him down. Even though I want our companion Daniel Suarez to finally get a win. No, he did get his first stage win in Circuit Americas. But we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, like our good cars, Ross, whatever they're doing to Ross's car, I hope they can do the same to Suarez as if they're doing the same things. But Ross's car has been has been really dominant for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So that's an incredible car right there.
Yeah, we knew it was only a matter of time before Chastain got that first win. 4 straight top 3 finishes is pretty impressive. That's pretty elite company to be in. And at Circuit of the Americas, he finally got it done. And you mentioned Daniel Suarez picking up the stage win in stage 1. He led it all 15 laps. It looked like he had the car to beat. He reported that his power steering went out. He posted it on his Instagram after the fact, and he said that his shoulders, his arms from trying to steer that thing through the twists and turns of Circuit of the America were just, I mean, his body was shot essentially from trying to handle that thing without power steering. But the racing itself was pretty much follow the leader all day on Sunday, except for the restarts.
Yeah, I love personally. I love the Circuit of America track. You know, we had the Truck Series, and that one was a doozy. There's a lot of spin outs on that one, but I love the track personally. But it's not notorious for a lot of passing or a lot of close bumping and contact, other than the final lap. But I'm not going to cut through this whole race quite yet. But just a lot of follow the leader, and when you have 2 lap cautions, like a 2 mile track or 3 mile track.
Yeah.
That race went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. You know, like I said, I always love NASCAR, but sometimes it's like, all right, let's simmer down, boys. But it was pretty clean racing for the first couple stages. We had Kurt Busch get spun out by none other than Chase Elliott, and I want to get to Chase in a minute because last week he was my prediction for the winner, but yeah, he did all right. Just he hung in there, but it's not. I think his car, he wasn't liking something with his car. They're making adjustments, but he couldn't just quite find. No, I think they said his car was fantastic, but he said he couldn't find his rhythm, I guess. So,
Yeah, he hung around all day. He was, top 10 and top 5 there at the end. I think he ended up finishing 6th, but I was surprised that Chase Elliott wasn't up front all day, being that he's known for winning all these road courses. And yeah, you mentioned Kyle Busch. He got spun out by Chase Elliott there early, and he never really recovered from that. He was complaining early on. We heard some of his radio chatter and how he was griping to his team about how bad his car is. He tried salvaging it. I think he ended up worse than 25th. Kyle Busch did, and his brother, both of them not great this weekend. But yeah, back to Elliott. You talked about his pit crew last week about how they've been struggling this week or this year, and they did it again. They lost him 6-7 spots on one of those pit stops, and I'm not sure if it was something that got tangled up because pit road was so narrow at COTA, but the pit crew for Elliott, I wouldn't say they cost him the race, but they cost him some track position there.
yeah, just his pit stops have been absolutely atrocious this year. Well, his racing seems like he's kind of finding his rhythm slowly after these weeks. I remember he always made jokes like 2 weeks ago that he always credit card swipe the walls like every now and then on the oval tracks. He'll just come up and smack the wall and keep going. But it seems like he's racing really, 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 really well. But just his pit crew has just costed him so much. I forget what race it was. He was in like the top 5, and then he got like 6 or 8 positions down in his pit stop, and it just costed him the race. I'm just like, oh man. So it's not really his fault, but I don't know what in the pit crew, if they're sleeping or if we need to get a new a new pit crew in there. But I just hope they can get their stuff figured out. He didn't have too bad of pit stops in circuit, did he?
No, just the one that cost him some track position. And for what he's been dealing with, he's still leading the points. He's still sitting number 1 in the point standings after COTA. And we're talking about pit crew getting a new batch. Bubba Wallace lost a tire on one of those sharp turns at Circuit of the Americas. And NASCAR just announced that his pit crew will be serving, his pit crew chief, Booty Barker, will be suspended for the next 4 weeks, as well as his right rear tire changer and left rear tire changer. So Bubba's going to have to find some buddies to help him hobble through the next 4 weeks.
Well, I'm guessing his crew chief ain't gonna be too upset. He gets 4 weeks in the tropics, so well, before he has to come back to the track. But anyway, I kind of want to backtrack to the tires. You know me about tires, but the tires have did really exceptionally well. We didn't have any, other than Suarez. Suarez ended up blowing a tire,
On a
but
spin.
on a spin. Yeah, he spun. No tires actually gave on purpose, so it was fantastic on the tires. So tires were never an issue during this race, which is happy to see. Other than Bubba's lovely pit crew not tying down his one lug tight enough. So I mean, they might be mad, but if they go to the tropics, take me with. I'll go there. I mean, they're not going to the tropics for. I just like the joke, like, well, they're going to be on a cruise sipping some margaritas. So before they have to come back to the track, I'm sure they get paid good enough.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry.
no, yeah. The tires held up other than that, and you can't really blame Goodyear for someone not tightening the lug well enough. That sucker just came flying off of there.
Oh, it's like back to Daytona, except I don't know. Yeah, that same thing happened back at Daytona. There's a tire just boop, 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 boop. Yeah, because they're actually kind of worried about that because they're worried that those tires can hop the fence and hurt the crowd. That's kind of why they're getting some harsh penalties on these guys. And it seems like, was this the second time this year tires came off the lug? Can't
Yeah, second or
remember.
third. I think LaJoy
Second
had
or
it
third?
happen at Phoenix and
I
then
think so.
Gilliland at Daytona. I think it's the third
Yeah,
time.
the third time, yeah, but tires blowing, that's a whole different thing. But yeah, like tires not intentionally being screwed down tight enough, bouncing off, and they're always worried about that tire hopping the fence because after a tire falls off going 100 miles an hour, that's a lot of weight and force coming at somebody. There could be a death in the stands right there, but they're trying to the pit crews to get their crap together
Yeah.
and get these tires down. Well, other than the Kurt Busch incident where they actually screwed it on too tight and it welded because those lug nuts and rims are alloy, and the hubs where the brake calipers are, the calipers and the rotors are solid steel. So it got so hot that it welded itself on there. I think they had to throw part cleaners or brake fluid on there just to get it off. So at least they're doing something right. It was a little tight, but I think they got it off. So Kurt's had a fantastic year I've been, keeping track of car parts going bad, tires blowing. He's had a lot of downs, but he's finishing races, not the best positions, but he is finishing races. So that's other than Kyle. Kyle's kind of getting a little, let his head get the best of him. But Kurt, I give Kurt props this year for his car kind of beating him down a little bit, but he comes back and getting it done.
Yeah, and at COTA, he was running strong until that late incident with Joey Logano put them both in the dirt in a kitty litter, and your guy Kyle Larson got tangled up in that mess. So none of those three guys had a real strong showing this weekend. But yeah, Kurt Busch has been pretty consistent at COTA in second year on the track, first year with decent weather. So it was basically a first time experience for these drivers. And I mean, it showed. A lot of those young guys were up front all day. Reddick, Chastain, Suarez, Alex Bowman was up there as well. So this one seemed to kind of be run by the young guns, and it was fun to watch.
Indeed, it was. What are we talking about? I liked for cold beer awards later. I had so many applicants for this cold beer award, and I just have to think about it. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to Larson. Larson has had a terrible last 3 weeks, last or 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, he ended up getting caught up with Logano and Bush. But I don't think his car was not that badly damaged. A little bit, but I mean, we're on the upslide now. He finished the race, I think. Yeah, he finished the race. We're on the upslide here. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, your driver Suarez blew a tire and a spun out, and he had to drive 2 miles back to pit road to get his tire changed, and that was a very sad day for any amigo out there, and he unfortunately had to blow his tire like right off the line, and he had to limp it to pit road, but he actually finished with a lead lap. So, and his car, I think his car was fantastic. Him and Ross's, they were just on fire, especially him being in the back or catching up. Like his time was matching up with the guys in the top 5 or top 3. So I was hoping he'd make a really good. Well, he did make a good comeback before his power steering went out, but with the power steering, man, I've been scared of this guy. Like, yeah, him being in the back and trying to catch up, but like his times trying to catch up were with the top 3 guys. So him, whatever Trackhouse is doing to them cars, they're doing something right. So I got good faith. I wanted to, Ross has got the first track house. Well, I just gave it away. Ross got the first track house, but track house, I believe they're coming. They're coming for you whether you like it or not. So I believe that, yeah, they just, I think they got it down this year, dog. Like Suarez was doing all the unfortunate tire blowout, but just they're doing something right. I'll tell you. I'm gonna tell you that in see what the next races look like, because you better look out.
Yeah, they seem to be competing real well for with the top teams like Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing. If you would have told me that Trackhouse was going to get a win before Joe Gibbs this year, I would have told you were crazy. I would have said, "Get out of my face! You don't know what you're talking about," because there's no way someone at Trackhouse wins before Joe Gibbs. And I was wrong. Gibbs is without a win this year, and Trackhouse picked up its first win. And yeah, I mean, Ross's car has been on rockets all year. Suarez he's a pretty consistent top 10 driver now, and they're fun to watch. And like you said, Ross Chastain picking up the win this weekend at COTA. Let's talk about that finish, man. AJ Allmendinger starts running him down, puts the bumper to Ross Chastain, sends him out of the groove. Chastain stays on it. He gets right up against AJ, sends AJ into Bowman, and wins the race. That was a crazy finish there at Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, yeah, like I said, Ross's car was extremely well, but it seems like when AJ would close the door on Ross's car just like slingshotted forward. I'm like, I don't know what he was doing something right. And it says he actually was never like a dirt track racer or anything. He just nothing like that. He never really raced like a circuit road before, and he did extremely well. But his car for some reason just, I don't know if it's the first gear, just shot like a slingshot. Like every time he'd kind of like come in a little too hot, he was right back in front again. He just like slingshot himself back in the front. And I give a lot of credit to AJ Allmendinger for taking it like a champ. And I don't know if that was Bowman crying at the end there. He was leaning on the guardrail. I don't know if he's bawling his eyes out. But yeah, Ross, I don't want to play the blame game, but AJ kind of gave him a little love tap in the rear and kind of closed the door on him. And then Ross was kind of taking him back, and then here comes Showman Bowman just sneaking right through the door, and there he goes. And then Ross finally dumped AJ, sent AJ into Bowman, took him out, but Bowman recovered though. AJ was kind of beyond fixing himself because he was almost sideways there, but Bowman kind of got knocked out on that little apron, that little runway over there, and managed to finish a good race. But he was crying on that one. But I would take a second place though. I would. Because you better get out of Ross's way.
Yeah, no kidding.
The melon boy.
The melon man. Yeah, AJ, it looked like AJ was going to catch him. And when he got into Ross's bumper, he pushed him. He didn't send him hard enough. And it's probably good being that AJ is only a part-timer. He's not there to compete for points. He was just there to win a trophy. So if he would have actually punted Ross Chastain, then there would have been a huge fight. So like you said, kudos to Allmendinger for not, complaining, griping about being taken out, because you get what you give. And Allmendinger pushed Chastain out of the way, and then Chastain returned the favor. That's all he did. And Bowman almost stole another one, but Ross wasn't going to let it happen. So
yeah, he's just sneaking in there,
And he's, it goes back to what Kyle Busch said. He backs into every win he gets. I don't think that, but regardless, it looked like he was going to steal another one there. So it was almost ironic. But I think talking about the end of the race, I think we got we got to go into cold beers, bud.
Oh man, I don't have a beer this week again. Oh man, so many opportunities to give the cold beer to. I mean, I would like to give Trackhouse one, but I might go with AJ Allmendinger for putting up a good race and taking that ending like a champ and not going over and beating 11 crap and get charges filed on you unlike Chris Rock and Will. Actually didn't press charges, but I'll give my cold beer award to AJ Allmendinger for taking it like a champ, being part-time, and would have finished second if that last lap wasn't as hectic as it was. But I'm gonna give my cold beer to AJ Allmendinger. He's only part-time, so he deserves a cold beer.
Yeah, I like that pick. And you said the first one you said there was Trackhouse Racing. I'm gonna narrow that down a little bit, get a little more specific. I think it's got to go to Ross Chastain getting that first win under his belt, getting to smash that watermelon, just driving his rear end off to get away from AJ Allmendinger. And he ran a good race. Trackhouse as a whole did. They led over half the laps between Suarez and Chastain, but I think the cold beer specifically has to go to Ross the Boss this week, the Melon Man, for getting that first win under his belt. And I think there's a lot more for him coming.
And another one of my cold beer contestants was Kyle Larson for finishing a race this weekend. I was so happy. Not the best place, but I mean we're on the uphill here, so we're getting somewhere. But I would have loved to give it to Trackhouse, even though I was happy for him. But that ending, the ending interview with AJ, I mean, I don't know, he kind of looked a little hurt behind his eyes, but he didn't make a fool of himself, and I think he did it professionally. He might have went back to his home and cried after that, but that interview, it just what he said kind of made me give him the cold beer award. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I respect Dinger for taking it like a champ, like you said. And he's a road course racer. He's done that all his life. He raced in the F1 series before he came to NASCAR, and it didn't really pan out for him. So he's been running full time in the Xfinity series, runs the road courses in the Cup Series. And yesterday he showed that he can definitely get it done with those full timers. Last year he won at the Indy Roval. This year he nearly won at Circuit of the Americas. He won the Xfinity race by a lot. So yeah, I agree with AJ getting a cold beer from you, buddy.
Oh yeah, I figured you'd do Trackhouse, so I'm not going to do the same.
Yeah.
Or Kyle Larson getting his first finish. But all right, so who do we got for the Pacifier Award this week?
I was just gonna get to that, buddy. You were saying about Bowman crying. So who better to get my Pacifier Award than Alex Bowman this week? Because I watched his post-race interview there, and he was kind of mopey. He was mad that he didn't get the win. I'm sure it was hot, or maybe there was some other contributing factors to his attitude after the race. But what he said was, "It has been a crap weekend, and I'm just ready to get the hell out of here." That's what he said to the reporters.
It's like Kyle Busch. Yeah, he's well deserved the Pacifier Award. Either I could give mine to Joe Gibbs for not having any Toyotas really winning this year at all by chance, other than Bubba Wallace's second place at Daytona. But I don't think we've had any Toyota winners this year, have we?
Not yet. Toyota's still searching for its first win.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no video of Joe Gibbs crying his eyes out, but I think Penske and Hendrick have had wins this year, and not Joe Gibbs and the underdog Trackhouse. I wouldn't really call them underdogs, but Trackhouse has their first win. Hendricks has their first wins. Actually, two are Byron and them. But I'm just saying first wins is kind of a cover, but
Right.
Penske's got some wins, and Joe Gibbs has 0 wins. Like a couple weeks ago when you did Hendrick Motorsports for no top 10 cars in the finish, I'm gonna go with Joe Gibbs for still not having a Toyota in first place. So I am going with that.
Oh, that's a gutsy one there. I think that's thinking outside of the box, and I like that. I like that kind of thinking there, bud.
Yeah, I remember.
Never forgets.
No,
got a memory like a race car driver.
You did Hendricks for not a top 10. I'm like, well, I don't think we've had any Toyota winners this year. We've had some close ones, Bubba at the Daytona, but I think that's kind of the closest we've had. Maybe some closer ones, but no first place winners. And so, I mean, Joe Gibbs isn't crying, but that's why I like to give mine to for kind of being dead last for winning drivers this year. So let's hope that Kyle and all them can kind of get their feelings in check and focus on a win and not dumping somebody. So let's hope these boys get their first win here pretty soon. I would like is Truex Joe Gibbs.
Yep, he drives for Gibbs.
Yeah, I really hope that Truex kind of gets his first, or no one's not gets the first one, but I want Truex to win out of all the Toyotas. I don't know about you, but that's just my personal feeling. I like Truex. He's got one of my favorite cars because I like Bass Pro Shops. Got the Bass Pro Shops car, and I just like him all around. I got nothing against the guy, so I would really love him to get a win this year. So, and Joe Gibbs are first racing, but as we stand right now, I'm going with pacifier award for Mr. Gibbs. So that's what I got. So.
Well, you're talking about Martin Truex Jr. I think that's a good point to get into the Richmond predictions. We're back on a short track, back on the oval this week, 3/4 mile track. You got any big predictions on who's going to win this thing, Will?
You know what? I actually do this week. We have witnessed at Phoenix. Phoenix was a short track, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm still learning all these tracks, but we had Fords being the absolute machines on the short tracks. So if I'm going to have any predictions, I'm going to go with Briscoe, Blaney, or Austin Cindric.
Ooh, there is a couple of big predictions. I was thinking your guy Martin Truex Jr. was going to win this one, Will. He won the fall race there last year, the night race. But, anything could happen. The Fords did look like they were the best cars at Phoenix. Blaney ran up front for the entirety of the day. Briscoe ended up getting the win. So I could definitely see one of those Stewart Haas guys or the Penske guys. Maybe Harvick's due for one. But I think my prediction is going to stick. I'm going to throw something at the wall and hope it sticks. And that something's going to be Martin Truex Jr.
See, I don't want to doubt you there, buddy, but we were thinking that God, I'm never having a brain fart. Chase Elliott was gonna win Circuit of the Americas, and we were kind of pretty sure on it. Nowhere near. So that's kind of why I'm gonna go with not Martin Truex, who maybe won it last year. This new car is a whole different animal, and with Phoenix being a short track, and the way Blaney and Briscoe were running, if they have no tire failures, they were the alphas. And so if Penske gets their cars tuned right again, if that's what they're hoping for, whoops, phone ringing. Yeah, we get the Fords running like they were in Phoenix. I'm gonna go with Blaney or Briscoe because they have seemed to leave people in the dust. And that last time Phoenix, when Briscoe or Blaney was leading, he had one. Chase Elliott was playing catch up with him all day, but could not get near him. So that's why I'm gonna go Fords as the powerhouse for the short track. I said don't quote me on it, but that's just a prediction. I'm just gonna go with Fords. I sound pretty confident the Fords are someone in a Ford's gonna get it, but I believe the Fords seem like they're well tuned for short track. So we're have to see what goes on Sunday. So what are your predictions? All right, yeah, you said Martin Truex. Any other predictions? You want to hop in on the Ford train?
I'm going to throw in a Chevy. I'm going to tell you to watch out for somebody. Daniel Suarez. I think we need to watch for him a little closer. Last year on the 2 Richmond races, he finished 15th and 16th on those 2 races. And that's when Trackhouse was kind of it was just kind of a starting project. It was their first year in business. And Suarez ran clean races. He loves to run those short tracks. He's really excited for Bristol dirt. So he might come up here in a couple of weeks, but I think Daniel Suarez is going to be a good one to watch at Richmond because of his short track experience and, just past experiences at Richmond. I think he'll be one to watch, but I don't think your Ford prediction is crazy. I like that because they did run the best at Phoenix, and Richmond's a pretty similar track.
Yeah, you can go back and watch the Phoenix race, dog, but watch Blaney and Briscoe. They are stupid fast. And, there was no reports after it. There was no car modifications. They were clean, and they were just leaving everybody in the dust. And I am solid. So we're going to got a good rivalry going here. We're going to go Penske versus Trackhouse and see who's the dumb. Being a Hendricks guy, I'm not gonna say, and because Larson's kind of having, I'm not going Larson. I'm not going my own guy, but being open-minded on the podcast where we review everybody and news in the NASCAR world. So I got an open mind. So I am gonna go with Penske this weekend. But you're not wrong. Trackhouse has been on fire this year. They kind of, not great the first couple of weeks. Everybody's, new cars, everybody's got to find their niche. And I believe drivers should have found the niche at this point. And this is going to be the second short track of the year. Like what, 3/4 mile, 0.75. Yeah. And kind of similar to Phoenix. So other than Phoenix had the 150-foot dog leg, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the one with the big
Oh, yeah.
dog leg in the middle of the track.
Yeah, 150 footer where we got
Richmond doesn't have that.
Nope. So it's going to be pretty tight. But I'm thinking with Briscoe and Blaney, the way they were racing and the way see what the poles look like and practicing qualifying looks like. But it could be Blaney. I'd say Blaney or Briscoe. But like I said, anything goes in this year of NASCAR. So, but just remember this in your mind: Penske and Trackhouse this weekend. Or I'm kind of hoping Penske's are going to get it, but. Actually, no, I'm not hoping. Just off what I saw in Phoenix, that the Penske Mustangs were absolutely dominant. They were killer.
Yeah,
So,
the Stewart Haas boys, as well as with Briscoe and Harvick. Those two guys ran up front at Phoenix, and it was mostly Fords who got the job done at the first short track we ran this year. So Richmond, it's similar. The only difference is that massive dog leg going into turn one at Phoenix. Richmond doesn't have that. So like you said, I think it's important that we watch the qualifying and practice. Because for COTA, it was Daniel Suarez was about the fastest guy on track, and it looked like he had the best car until his steering gave out. And a lot can change from day to day, and you told me that last weekend too. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see those Ford guys up there running up front at Richmond.
Yeah, man, not crew chiefs, pit crew too. I mean, and then Phoenix, when Briscoe was leading, he had one of the fastest pit stops. Like Briscoe and his team were absolutely connecting that day. So hopefully, if they're in first, then they're gonna have some pretty speedy pits. If they're kind of vibing with each other, I'd say you better look out for them Fords. But that's only predictions I got. Happy Harvick. He finished top 5 in Phoenix. He got his 18th top 5 finish there. But yeah, that's really all I got to say. I'm not gonna go Chevy. Chase Elliott really hung. Chase has been hanging in all year long. But if he can get I think he could be more deadly if his pit crew gets fixed. But I'm going Fords. I'm either going to say Briscoe or Blaney or Harvick. That's my top 3 right there. So we just got to wait and see.
And wait and see we will. I think that's going to wrap this one up. We're at about 33 minutes. So just want to say thanks again for listening, for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week for all the Richmond action, as well as predictions for, is it Talladega after Richmond? I got to look. Martinsville, 2 short tracks in a row. This is going to be the best stretch of racing in the season. You are not going to want to miss this. Tune in next Monday for all the recaps of Richmond and the predictions for Martinsville. Again, this is Drew Hansen. He's Will Fox. Thanks again for watching. See you later.